Good evening, and welcome to the St. Petersburg by Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle, Rage Across Tampa.
Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing dire of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warring forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Don't you never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness community broadcasting from St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. And it is Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa Bay, Florida, where a pack of Guru have established the Sept of the Evening Star, a Sept that is combating the forces of the worm, both physically and spiritually. If you like what you're hearing, you should go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media you see listed down below and in the description. And if you like it even more than that, you should follow that Discord link you see in the description to join our amazing community where we have activities taking place all month long. And rumor has it, we have some tables starting in the next couple of months. So if you want to find yourself with a seat at one of those tables, not just, viewing and bearing witness to World of Darkness Chronicles, but also participating in those chronicles, you should follow that Discord link and get in that community ASAP so you could find yourself in one of those seats as soon as possible. But of course, I couldn't tell this story alone. It would take a group of pretty astounding players to make this story possible. So let's go ahead and introduce those players now. Players, say hello and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, a Mog, half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend. And I'll be playing Aspen, Weiss, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hi everybody, I'm Noree, and I'm not a robot, and I'll be playing Malicious Jester, Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey everybody, I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, Ragabash of the Shadow Lords. And while this pack does make deals with leeches, at least we're not leeching off other guru.
That was hostile as fuck. Hi everyone, my name's Preston. I play Jason Dreams-In-Decay Thorne, Theurge of the Bone Gnar.
Wow, these introductions are just getting longer and longer, and this pack has made quite an impression on the other pack as their introductions are also getting longer and longer. But that being said, let's talk about what happened last week, because this pack and its leader made a literal deal with the devil after meeting with Edward Baitman, the Ventru Prince of Tampa. A ceasefire of sorts was called between the Kindred and the Guru. This ceasefire was called because the Kindred have something that the Guru need, and they both agree that the forces created by Pentex have gotten out of control. The threat of these plants, these literal fungi creatures, have become such a threat to both the Kindred and the Guru that they need to be disposed of. And what is it that Baitman has that the Guru needs so badly? Iron. Cold iron, to be specific, because as we've come to learn, this threat that is literally growing from the ground seems to come from a place known as the Dreaming, and a threat known as Balor, a Fey entity, an evil Fey entity that has been pursuing some refugee changelings that have been in hiding in the city and is now spreading its evil plague or pestilence across the entire world, if possible, in the form of these plants, and has been working closely with Vanessa and Pentex to make that a reality. So a deal was struck, even though it was done so in a very, well, through gritted teeth manner by Aspen. And while there was some vitriol and venom spit from both sides, the agreement was made. Meanwhile, Jester had a interesting conversation, a meeting of sorts with Bruce, where she talked about the real story behind Ryder's death. She told him the truth about what happened at the prison break, because Bruce has been revealed to be a Ghislaine, what was previously known as a kinfolk, someone who can witness what happens to Guru, who is closely tied to Guru without being a Guru themselves. And as the president of the biker club, he had been very close to Ryder in the past and is now seemingly growing close to this Guru pack and may very well be a strong and important ally in the future going forward. Bruce, in turn, told Jester that it was past time that she patched in to the biker gang, because Jester had been close to the bikers for some time. And while talking to Lucas, he agreed that it was time that the bikers made a change, that the club made a change, as they had been drifting away from the chapter as a whole. And it was time for some possible rebranding amongst the biker gang, and that they take a new direction, and that she should be a part of that new direction that they are taking. Also, Jace had a strong conversation with Eliza where they came to an agreement that he did need to undergo the treatment to have the infection removed. While the staff was providing protection, it did come with a great deal of risk and liability, as this possessive force that was seemingly protecting him also did create potential risks, and they did not know how long this protection would last. If it could just go away in an instant. There were too many unpredictable factors that came with the staff. And so they needed to make preparations for the treatment he would have to undergo. There are a lot of unknown variables that this pack has to determine. And now, looking for other possibilities moving forward, they send the other pack, the Hellhounds, up to Michigan because they're not going to trust Baitman as their only source of iron. There is also the mine up in Michigan that they are hoping to retrieve iron from. But without the Hellhounds in town, this cuts their forces in half. And the threats are only continuing to grow. Our story, however, begins tonight, just a few hours after that meeting with Baitman, as Aspen has arrived back home to the apartment. Aspen, you have quite a bit of adrenaline running through your body, but it is definitely coming to a crashing point as your rage has started to settle. You've come in the door, you've thrown down your bag, you've gone over to the sink and grabbed a glass of water, chugged it down, and you see that Artie is sitting over, or actually he was with you at the event, so he drove you home, and he's just kind of watching you as he walks in and locks the door behind the two of you. So, how'd it go?
She'll chug down the last of the water, kind of unintentionally slam the glass onto the counter. Not well.
Do you want to talk about it?
I think I messed it up. I think I ruined it.
Why?
Because I didn't get. I know he knows more, and I know we could have asked more questions, and the exchange could have gone so many different ways, and we'd be more secure coming out of that. But we're not, because I didn't keep my cool. I didn't.
Artie crosses the room, walking into the kitchen, and wraps his arms around your shoulders. Well, first, you both walked out of there alive. So let's start with that. Worst case scenario, that wouldn't have happened. So it could have gone a lot worse. But I know. And I hear you. I'm sorry.
Just. He's ruined everything.
Yeah.
He's still here.
It's funny. I don't think even if he was gone, we'd be rid of him. The amount of damage he's done to this city, to this pack. He's left a stench on this place that we're going to feel for a long time to come. There's going to be so many reminders of him. I think he's built it that way on purpose.
At least he'd be gone. At least those spaces could heal instead of festering. And he knows more. I know he knows more, and I could have asked, and I didn't. And He's just... If Bloody Mary was the boogeyman, he's the manifestation of nightmares.
Do you want to try again?
I don't know if I can look in his face and walk out of there like I did today.
That's fair. You're the strongest person I know, Aspen. If there's anyone who's capable of doing it, it's you. I truly believe that. But I also believe you're self-aware enough to know if that's now or if that's later.
We made a deal. And I don't think seeing him again while that deal is still happening is a good idea.
Okay. Terms of the deal could always be renegotiated, of course. If you think that there's more information to be gained. A guy like that, creature like that, they have an ego. An ego that they've tailored over a long period of time. They will never turn down an opportunity to have that ego massaged. But this is by no means me pressuring you. The last thing I want is you in the same room with him. I am more than happy to take whatever deal you brokered and walk away with it. But I also know this is going to eat at you. Because while we got a deal, I think in your mind, he won. Because you got angry.
Yeah. For getting iron. I don't even know how much.
That's good. Any little bit counts. I mean, we've been scouring pawn shops and flea markets.
We have the others going down to Michigan. I don't even know if it was worth making a deal with him. I don't even know exactly what I'm getting.
With everything we've heard about Michigan, do you really believe they're going to come back with anything?
I'm not sure. I can hope, but...
Of course we can hope. I want to believe that it's going to go well, but with everything that's happened recently, there is a ticking time bomb in that pack waiting to go off. And now we're sending them away with no supervision to the place that is possibly the most triggering for them. When we need them to be at their best and perform their best the most.
Right. Probably an awful idea.
Or maybe it's the best idea. Maybe that pressure to perform is exactly what they need. maybe the fact that we need this as badly as we do will overcome whatever petty bullshit they have between them. Although, this might be a little less than petty. Or more than petty, I should say.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
I need to make sure that I'm at my best, that I'm doing what I need to do, and that I'm trying in every way I possibly can.
Yeah. I
And
know
this
you
isn't
are.
This isn't like Aiden. This isn't me blindly running into things. I just need to fix something.
I know. I know the difference. You're right to be mad. This is more than Aiden. This is everything has led up to this. To him. He's the end game. But it's not time for the end game yet.
When is it? When I feel like regardless, there's always going to be something new in our face that we have to deal with, and he's always going to be right there staring at us, waiting with a smirk on his face, knowing that we're never going to touch him because there's always something else.
We'll find our time. We'll find our time. And when it comes, we will seize it. It's just not right now. This is too important. This is big. This isn't like there's, I don't know, ghosts or something. This is huge. And unfortunately, he's right. We need him. He's got something we need.
Feels like history's repeating itself. There's wolves again.
Really?
Really? It's one thing I was able to get him to talk about.
Well, that answers at least one question, or at least gives us a clue as to why he would reach out.
Because he can't control them, which in turn means he thinks he can control us.
Or at least he can put us in the way between them and him.
Fodder, just a pawn for him to use.
Why did you agree to the meeting then?
Because I wanted answers. I wanted insight into why.
Mission kind of accomplished. And maybe you got some iron for your trouble.
Maybe. But now he's off limits. He's off limits until we figure out these plants. Until we fix his problem.
We weren't going to get to him anyway. Not yet. We didn't even know where he was. Let's be real.
How long? How long do we give it?
At least until we fix this mushroom virus plague issue. I mean, we could chase him around. We could try to kill him. But if this gets out of control, what will it have been for?
I also worry that if we take care of the plant problem, which I want to do, I do, then how much is he gaining in that time that we don't focus on him, that we leave him alone, that we don't even know what he's planning, and he's out there building a new army of, I don't know, whatever he wants to use for whatever he wants, for more power, for more gain, to keep his grubby claws in our city.
Can I pose a hypothetical to you? What if he left the city? Would you chase him?
I don't know. I don't. That kind of evil out there to continue. And I know he's not the only one, and I'm not delusional to think that he's not the worst of them. But he's out there. He's hurting people. And he's here, and he's hurting people that I care about. We can't just let that fester and continue and grow. And I don't know, Artie. How long do we keep letting it happen? When is it Lucas's turn? When is it Jason's turn? When is there something we can't go back? When is there something we can't move forward with?
Some would say we've already passed that point.
I think we both know better than that. I think we always know that there's something else to lose.
Could it be that this is what he wants, though, to distract you, to throw you off, so that you're not keeping your eye on the target, so that you're off balance in dealing with this? Yeah, he gives you what you need, but you're not paying attention, and it gets you. Or maybe you're right. Maybe he is taking this time to build up what he needs to squash us when we're weak after we're done dealing with this.
It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario.
Yeah. What do you want to do?
I know what I need to do. It's not really what I want to do that matters.
I'm asking you, what do you want to do?
I want to grab Jester, find this man, and get rid of him for good. That's what I want to do, but I know logically that's not what we can do. There's people, innocent people out there that need our help. So I don't get to do what I want to do.
What would you be willing to sacrifice to accomplish that goal?
To get rid of Baitman.
Yeah. Because you're right, he is going to keep taking. So one way or another, there is going to be sacrifice. So it's either sacrifice now or it's sacrifice later.
I understand. And I don't know what I'd be willing to sacrifice. I know what I'm supposed to be doing here. I know what needs to be done. I know what I'm working towards. But I see him and it's awful.
No. I can't even imagine what it was like being in that room. I don't know how you did it, to be honest. The fact that you're beating yourself up over getting a little angry, whereas most of us probably would have broken everything or gotten ourselves killed. That's a testament to how strong you are. Before we make moves on Baitman, you asked me when is it time? I suppose the answer would be when you can answer that question. What are you willing to sacrifice? Because that's probably what it's going to be determined by. That's what we found out when we went after Mary. Unfortunately, we didn't get a heads up about that. One of us knew, well, more than one of us apparently, but there was a price. There's probably going to be another for Baitman. So when you can come up with, or at least understand what you think that price is going to be, that'll be the time. But while the answer is I don't know, it's not the right time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If the answer
Maybe.
is ever everything, that's not the right time either. Because I know you're going to feel that sometimes, especially after you've just looked him in the face.
I don't think the answer will ever be everything.
Good.
And until then, I get to tell Jester that I made a deal with the literal devil.
Yeah, she's going to love that.
Oh yeah. Ugh. Speaking of history repeating itself, feels like that happened before. And then I get to tell the others that we've got spooky little puppies running around.
Yeah. That is going to be conversation for sure. We got to talk. We should probably get with Eliza about that. She's the only one of us, as far as I know, that's encountered them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Jace has.
I mean, I've heard the stories when it comes to Lucas, so. But that's a different story. I get what you mean.
It's always something.
Isn't it?
At this point, out in the parking lot, you hear the sound of a motorcycle rolling up. Our roommate's home.
Yeah, you get up in a frenzy and you kind of forget that you invite people. Oh, okay.
As far as Jester's concerned, she's not going to like it, but if you tell her why you chose to do it, she'll respect it and she'll understand. She's going to go through her fits, but she will understand. And as long as she knows that you're both on the same page, that you both want the same thing in the long run, she'll be patient. Although I would suggest bringing something for her to break, or, taking her somewhere where she can hit something, or, something like that.
Yeah, maybe I'll, take her to like an empty kind of park area, bring her some beers and let her throw them at the wall. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, she'll get a plan. At this point, you hear a knocking at the door, and Artie unwraps his arms from around your shoulders and walks over to the front door and unlocks it. Jace, you had been in position, kind of on the perimeter around the meeting, and you eventually got the all clear sign that the meeting had finished and that it was time to disperse. You decided to swing by the bar after everything was said and done, just to make sure everything was locked up tight before heading home to your temporary resting spot at Artie and Aspen's. So as you get home and you head up the stairs, you try the handle and the door is locked, but you see that the Jeep is parked out in the parking lot, so you give a knock. You can hear voices talking inside, and then eventually you hear the deadbolt unlock and the door opens, and you find Aspen and Artie inside. Hey. Sorry,
Yeah,
we were just
wasn't-
chatting. Come on in.
Wasn't interrupting, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. I'm assuming door closed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. close the door behind him.
I was just about to make some dinner. You guys hungry?
Famished.
Starving. Absolutely.
I got it. You guys chat. Artie heads into the kitchen.
Nice place.
It does its job. Absolutely.
Couch, and I'm assuming that'd be the one.
That'd be the one and only.
He'll take his bag and just kind of throw it at the edge of the couch. It's a good spot for it. You doing okay?
Yeah, doing fine. You okay with living here? I know it's kind of not the optimal choice, but
I've bounced around a lot, so it's, retracing my roots.
makes sense.
Yeah. I thank you for letting me stay.
I mean, of course, you needed somewhere to go. The cairn would have been not the smartest place with you and your little magic wand.
Yeah. I don't know how that's gonna work out if that ends up happening in the middle of the night and you guys see him. So, or me as him.
Well, I think if there's interactions to be had there's if I do better than I did today, there's diplomacy to be had here, and if there's tracking that needs to be done, I mean, we have Artie here too, so optimally you being here makes the most sense. And then also, I don't think you want to get knocked out if you were to walk out the door immediately, which is what ultimately would happen if you stayed with Charles and Jester. So
No, that I prefer a conversation and maybe a lighter hand to it than how Charles beats things till they do what he says. So
it's useful, and it's and it's time, just not all of the time.
yeah, nothing against the guy, but being delicate doesn't really seem to be his thing.
No, never has been.
Have you known him for a long time?
I mean, I've known him less time than I've known Jester and Artie.
Okay. I just wasn't sure with like being the Silver Fang thing. I wasn't sure if like really tight circles or how you guys operate.
No, it's not like every Silver Fang knows every other Silver Fang. At least
Figured it'd be like a group chat or something where you guys just update each other
The-
constantly,
the
like a
old-
big meeting.
the older ones believe what the older ones believe, but when it comes to things changing, no, we don't have a group chat, and no, I don't. We don't bow to each other and then show each other our like fancy cars as a greeting and flash our cash. It's not really.
Okay. Well, that's reassuring in its own right.
Right. I mean, just like you guys, you don't go hang out in like a trash compactor and have your conversations.
That was usually like every other Saturday we would do that, but scheduling complications.
I'm sure it gets difficult.
Nah, I get the stereotypes of everyone they don't follow. Just Silverfang seem to follow some of those better than others. So I was just curious.
I mean, you know enough stories about me. I don't think I really fall under the stereotypical Silver Fang.
You're right. My bad. You are not what I was expecting when I got here. Well, at first, kind of, when I first came to the cairn, that was pretty on par. But as you are now, no. It's not how things were brought up to me.
Yeah, sorry about that, by the way. Going through some things.
You were dealing with a lot of stuff and trying to process. You're fine. and he'll lean over to the kitchen. Someone had other things to do, so.
As you look over in the kitchen, you can see that Artie has pulled a frozen pizza out of the freezer and is now preparing and preheating the oven. And he looks over and gives a shrug.
She'll lean in, just look into the kitchen. You're doing great, babe. And then just lean back to talk to Jason. Speaking of when we first met and all of that and everything that's come to be, which is quite a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
What are your intentions? Like, are you here to help? Which we've appreciated the help so far, obviously. So, not taking anything away from that. Are you planning to leave after your job is done? I don't even know if I know exactly what your job is.
As a theurge, my job's technically never done. Spirits will always be here, and they will always need help. Jester asked me a similar thing. Right now, I am here to do a job. Now, I am believing in what you guys are trying to do here. I think it's a great move forward. But the world's a big place, and I really thought that Ohio was going to be mine for the rest of my life. And then I got brought down here, and the things that I'm witnessing here is that there's a lot I can do to help in this fight. But you guys need a lot of help here. So as long as you'll have me, and as long as I'm being called to this place, I plan on staying here.
Okay. And I mean, I know a theurge job. I understand the job. That's not really what I was asking. I was asking, once your job here is done, what were your plans and what is your job here, and when will you be called away, if that's how all of that works?
I was sent here to help the guru down here. The little things that I heard about the abandoned place down in Florida, I've at first kind of brushed them off to the side, but then hearing the other things you guys had accomplished and then being called here. My job is to try and help rebalance things to be more stable. Kind of how it was at one point. As far as what Rat is told me is that when everything gets balanced back out and fixed, I think it's more of my choice, but he's the one that brought me down here in the first place. So, and my relationship with him is that he looks after me in ways I don't quite understand, and I do what he asks. But he wants me to help down here with the spirits, because what happened at the old... And again, I don't want to be bringing up old wounds, but what happened there caused a bigger rift than what is seen on the surface. And trying to mend that, it's going to take a long time. And I don't even know if it can be completely healed, but bridging it might be an alternative that we can do. And that's what I'm going to try and do.
Okay, and feel free to talk about the past. It's how you learn, it's how you grow, and if I didn't want it talked about, I don't think I would take the name Oathbreaker. So you're free to talk about our past transgressions. I won't get offended, I promise.
Yeah. All right, well, to put it frankly, you guys fucked up, is what it is. And in doing so, the spirits want nothing really to work with the guru here. That they see the act that has been done as a slight to all of them. That's why someone from the outside came in. And even to me, they're still not super helpful. You saw how it was with the three. Had to do a lot of coercing and deals, but deals are normally how it works, but it's going to take time. It's not like I'm going to be leaving in like a month or so. So hopefully I won't be in your place for a super long. Not that it isn't great, but I like my own space. But I also want to help you guys out, and not just with the spirit thing. So if you guys need me for anything, just let me know.
No, we will. And we'll get you fixed so you're not stuck couch surfing. Absolutely. But while you're here, do you consider this to be your pack and your sept? Because I, for one, consider you a part of my sept.
I like to think that I am. Can't help that there's been some bonds made.
We have that effect on people.
Yeah, really dig in. It's great. But no, I still have my love for back in Columbus, and my pack that's there. But I think that they're just part of my past, and my present is here, and for as far as my foresight can see, my future's here too.
Okay, then I think we make it official.
Yeah. Do you have a certain tradition that you do?
Well, we'll talk to the rest of the pack, obviously. And you'll meet Star. I think that's important.
Star?
Star's our pack patron.
Oh, cool.
She's delightful. She's actually a loon spirit. She's really adorable, but you won't see her during the day a lot. She likes to sleep.
I understand that. With the current things that are going on, now my skill set is with the spirits, but if you're needing additional intel on anybody, anything, that part of the stereotype is real. When it comes to seeking out things that people like to hide, ask a rat.
I think that'll be really helpful. I think what the most important thing is to get you fixed up so that I know you have your whole thing, and I know not being at your best, not to be offensive or anything, but you not being at your best, I know affects you, it seems. So to get you in a position where you can help fully is what I'm really interested in.
Well, no, there's no offense. I agree. I'm 75% at best with the staff with me. Had a conversation with Eliza. She is also a very convincing, lovely lady. That procedure that she had talked about and taking care of the issues at hand, I agreed to move forward with it.
Big risk.
Hopefully big reward.
I think that's ultimately your decision, so I was never going to push one way or another, but we'll make sure that we do everything we possibly can to keep you safe in that situation.
Yeah, from what she said, I could be out for a day or more. She said, being what we are, the healing properties that we have are going to be a huge asset on that end. But my biggest concern was that she said I was being drained completely. But was worried about my connection with the spirits and being a theurge, that was going to cause some issues. She reassured that that's not how this will work. So all my abilities, I guess, that I have should be back to normal once I'm completely recovered. But the recovery will be based on the body itself.
Okay. So, we get you a little extra vitamin C before we do the whole thing.
Yeah, and maybe some B12 vitamins just really get me good and energized. And I'm sure there's some weird guy at the corner somewhere. I can buy something from him. I've been doing so many drugs lately. Like, why not try more?
I would say, get some more iron, but that probably will come later.
That's not my forte. I don't need to do that. You got that covered.
Right.
I was talking with Eliza about the that lost spirit and moving forward with that. I know your apprehension about working with these other people, so thanks for being open-minded about that. She's also a little wary about it, but I usually have a pretty good gauge on people, and I don't see any ill intent with them.
I mean, we had our issues with strangers before, so I think everybody is always cautious in that scenario, but I trust your judgment. As long as you know you're not making a habit of leaving and going and doing things on your own and jumping into foreign cars. And let's not make that a habit.
Uh-huh. Okay.
You kind of got off the hook because Lucas had been tracking you if need be. So
I will do my best to refrain from that. I do work well alone. I understand your buddy system. I understand the situation that this city is in.
well, good. Then you can work with Lucas because Lucas likes to tell me that he also works really well alone. So he'll get along in that sense.
So together we can work alone is your solution.
Right.
Lawyer talk. Okay, sure. Yeah. We'll work alone together, side by side, holding hands, but alone.
But you'll know not to step on each other's toes, and that's what really is important, isn't it?
As long as he doesn't step on mine, he's got big feet.
Fair enough.
You hear Artie call over from the kitchen. Charles works well alone too, if you'd prefer to work with him alone.
I've been working with Charles a lot. I don't think you guys really understand how this alone thing works. But wait, so Charles can work alone and Lucas does work alone. But Lucas was saying that he has done it in the past, but Charles does work alone.
Yes. You could work with Charles if you wanted to.
You know what? I will try and work with both of them. I think Charles, despite his rigidness, has a lot of insight to a lot of things I didn't expect, actually. When combat is brought up, he becomes very chatty, but yeah, he's got a lot of fun things to kind of like mold your brain around on the way that he perceives the world.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience. It lends to wisdom.
I could see
He's
that.
also really funny and he loves jokes.
I have not seen that side, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I think you should.
Okay. Like jokes, or does he like enjoy like pranks and stuff? Because I think that might be fun.
Ooh, pranks probably even better. I think he would actually really enjoy those.
Can work something out. Artie, are you good at pranks? You got stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I will work with Charles for a little bit. See what happens. If I end up not showing up, the prank didn't go well.
Oh, you'll show up. I'm not worried about that. He's yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
He loves
we'll conjure
pranks.
something.
Loves them.
All right. We'll conjure something up. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think so. And Aspen will grab her glass, pick up a glass from the coffee table, walk it into the kitchen, lean over to Artie. I feel better. And start to fill up the water.
As Artie pulls the pizza from the oven, takes out a pizza roller and cuts it into slices, brings it out into the living room with a bunch of paper plates, serves up the pizza. You all enjoy dinner together and finally start to relax, unwinding from all of the tension of the evening. A deal with the devil was struck, but it can be a deal in your favor, especially as your bond as a pack grows, especially as your resources come more and more to light, especially as you learn to work together. You're rebounding, but you still have the ball. We transition now to our next scene. Jester and Lucas, you were invited to a very important chapter meeting of the bikers. So as you arrive at the clubhouse, you find that it is packed. The entire parking lot is filled with motorcycles. In fact, you've never seen this many bikers at the location before. They have called in everyone from the area. Now, you may have seen most of these individuals come through at one time or another, but they have never had a full chapter meeting in the time that you've been here. Even since Ryder's reign as president, have they had a full chapter meeting. So as you arrive and move in to the doors of the black rectangular building, you find that it is wall-to-wall people. There's a smoky haze in the air of cigars and cigarettes. There's music blaring from the jukebox. You can see Sticky Ricky in his position by the door, and he waves a meaty hand, waving you through, giving you a toothy grin as you make your way in. Everyone is here. Everyone is present because they know that this has to be an important meeting if they've called everybody in from all around the area. People coming in from as far south as Miami to be here, and from as far north as Tallahassee. All from across the state, they arrive. You can see that Susan has laid out quite a spread, and you can see her fiery red hair making the rounds around the room, giving socks on the arm to individual bikers, some of them toasting her and cheering her on for the food that she's provided. And you can see that Bruce has posted up at the end of the pool table, which is not a pool table at the moment. In fact, they've laid out plywood boards over it to make it almost like a large conference room table. There are stools positioned all around it down its length, and all of the chairs and stools from the bar have been pulled over to give as much seating as possible for everyone to gather and arrange themselves for when the meeting actually does come to order. You can see all of the other officers of the biker club have gathered off near Bruce and are in deep discussion. And from what you can tell, it's a pretty tense discussion. Some of the officers you don't even recognize, like the treasurer and the vice president, who have not been around as much, mostly because they seem to come from a further distance off, like Sarasota, and that they come by occasionally when duties require, but they haven't been by as much recently. So you haven't really necessarily had the pleasure of being introduced. And as they're talking with Bruce, you can see that tensions are a little bit high, as they seem to be trying to get answers out of him, but he's being rather tight-lipped in his responses, telling them to wait for the meeting. Before the meeting gets called to order, though, you look around the room, taking in who is present, and one of the notable missing exceptions is Larry. While the bar is crowded and packed and everyone is busy drinking, Larry is still not here. It is not tending to bar at the moment. Is there anything you'd like to do before the meeting gets called to order?
I'll head over to the bar and get a drink.
Okay.
I'll follow Jester, but I'll refrain from getting a drink at the moment. I feel like I'm gonna have to keep my wits about me for this one.
Probably.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll me a wits and insight, both of you.
Two successes.
4 with a crit.
Okay, so Jester, from what you can tell, there is an overall kind of anticipation in the air. You know, everyone is happy to be together, you know, seeing each other. A lot of people haven't seen each other in quite some time, so they're catching up, they're reminiscing, they're reuniting. So there's just this eager anticipation to see what this is all about. But Lucas, there's something else in the midst of all of it. There is a tension beyond what you witnessed in the officers. That tension seems to go deeper. As you notice, there seems to be already a division forming, as if there are two factions, two groups that have gathered in the way that they are split in the club itself. Two groups gathered talking amongst themselves. Now, one of those groups is the regulars you see around the club. You know, normally there's Damien, the newest prospect, who is busy over by the jukebox, just kind of flipping a coin and trying to play card games with some of the other, you know, newer bikers in the gang, trying to do some betting with them, trying to get a game going. And there's Ricky, of course, who is mostly manning the bar, but talking it up. The guys who are around the city primarily. And then there's the others who haven't been seen as often. And the feeling you get from them seems to be a lot more antagonistic, a little bit more standoffish, as if they have a bone to pick or frustration. Again, a lot of unfamiliar faces, but they all wear the colors. They all came in. They're meant to be here.
Hey, Jess,
Hmm.
need you to do me a favor. Need you to, need you to take your earrings out and flip your rings around. This is not looking good right now.
Okay. You know this can go badly, right?
Yeah, that's what it smells like right now. I think
I'm
there's
not even talking about them.
yeah. Yeah, I know.
Take my earrings out.
So as you continue to survey the scene, just before the meeting is about to be called to order, the front door opens and you do see Larry slide in. He quickly makes his way across the room, keeping his head down, his gaze averted, and ducks in behind the bar. He doesn't get to work, but he mostly posts up near the door to the back, preparing to listen in, making sure he's in attendance for this, but still being very withdrawn. Being sure, especially to put distance between himself and you. At least for the moment. At this point, Bruce clears his throat and pounds a gavel on the table, which causes all of the voices to die down. Brothers, I call this meeting to order. It's been a long time since we've all been in one place. And it's a shame that but it's time that we discuss some important things. So let's deal with some old business first. Obviously, we lost one of our own in Ryder. Most of you were here and were able to celebrate his passing and mourn his loss. Some of you mourned him in your own ways from afar. We then had the election, which made me president. Most of you turned out for the vote for that. Some of you abstained. Obviously, these have been tough times for the club. At this point, you can hear a little bit of murmuring in the crowd. I know there have been some questions as to where we're going and what we're doing. And as for the club as a whole, well, other branches have been heading in less than favorable directions. Out in California, they've started to get into some business that makes us look bad. They've been stirring up trouble with other clubs. Trouble that I don't want falling on our heads. Trouble I don't want being brought down here. So I think it's time for a change. I think it's time for us to strike out on our own, to start something new. Obviously, things aren't good around here. We've all felt it. We've all noticed it. I've been talking to some of our brothers, some of our new recruits. They've brought some very interesting ideas to the table. And I think it's time we hear them out. He then looks over to Lucas. Lucas.
Lucas will turn and look at Jester for a second and then step out kind of in the middle of the room. I didn't know Ryder like a lot of you guys knew Ryder. But I know that he wanted something different. That this city, these people, these families connected to this club, that had to be the most important thing. Finding each other, taking care of each other, that had to be the most important thing. And whether we like it or not, there's others out there. People in the community that can't take care of themselves. They can't fight back. What are we gonna do? Who are we if we don't do something? I think Ryder would have wanted us to help those people. He did help some of those people. Maybe not in the way that worked out great, but he did it anyway because he knew it needed to be done. I think that's what we carry forward from here. So we show the whole world who we really are. We help them.
At this point, the vice president kind of clears his throat and stands up. He's a man with very, very tan skin, a shaved bald head, kind of scarred face and features, a kind of deep set frown and furrowed brow on his head. I hear a lot of talk about what Ryder would have wanted. But I see a lot of things that don't match the Ryder I knew. A lot of strangers coming in out of the club constantly, uninvited. A lot of sitting on our hands, doing nothing, playing neighborhood watch, watching our funds just slowly drain. We're not doing any business. The club's not profiting. Is this what Ryder would have wanted? No, Ryder took action. We haven't taken any action in a long fucking time. In fact, I think Ryder would be embarrassed at what this club has become. He's probably rolling over in his grave right now, thinking about it. If you ask me, Everything's gone to hell ever since we've opened our doors. And brought others in. Non-club members. It's been a revolving door. There's no security. There's no structure anymore. We got others coming in here asking for things, wanting things, taking things. Like we're errand boys. Yeah, we can help the community, sure. That's always been part of it. But what about us? When do we help ourselves? Ryder at least knew that we needed to benefit too. It wasn't selfless work all the time, and it wasn't just an open door policy. This is a joke. I don't think things need to change. I think they need to go back to the way they were. Bruce frowns and looks over at Jax, then back at Lucas. I hear what you're saying. And you're not wrong. We have been passive. We haven't taken as much action as we should. And that's why we need to change. But I think Ryder needed to change too. And that's why he opened the doors. And this is what he would want. Nobody knew Ryder better than I did. Nobody knew what he was going through better than I did. And nobody stuck around more than I did. And he shoots Jack's dagger stare. Especially after he was gone. Jax looks back at Bruce. If there was anything worth sticking around for, maybe we would have.
But you didn't officially leave. Like, you still were part of the organization, you just weren't here to help. Maybe business would have been done if people had been here.
Oh, just like I said, our meetings are also open to non-club members too. No, we were out there doing the club business, trying to make a living, trying to keep our presence known, not just sitting around waiting, not just sitting in the shop, taking our bikes apart and putting them back together again, waiting for the guests to come by and ask something of us. Not just serving free drinks to any stranger who walked in the doors.
What were you doing?
Preparing for the future. Because I knew someday this place would need a change. So go ahead, Bruce. Tell us what your great plan is. Tell us what you think we should do. And then I'll tell you what I think we should do. And we'll let the boys decide which one is better. Because that's what we do, right? Democracy.
I'm sorry. Before you do this, yeah, whatever. I'm a stranger. Cool. Why didn't you bring this up earlier if you had a problem? Like literally, if this is a democracy and this is a club and you're a family and stuff, why didn't you talk earlier? Because this seems like it's all being hashed out months later. Instead of you making plans on the side because you felt the club needed a change, why didn't you talk and say the club needed a change?
I did, to those that would listen, to those that knew what I knew.
Was that Bruce? Or did you not talk to the club president that was voted in?
No, Bruce was too busy.
So you are planning a coup then? This is what this sounds like. Because you didn't talk to the president about the problems you had and the grievances you had. Instead, you planned on the side with a bunch of other people that had the same problem. And now you're trying to plan a coup and make it a public coup.
It's not a coup, it's an election.
Sounds like a fucking coup to me.
He was always a temporary president to begin with.
Okay. Keep going.
As I was saying, it is time for a change. Ryder always said, no drugs. Some of the other chapters are starting to deal in drugs. We don't do that here. I don't want our chapter to be associated with that kind of business. We need to rebrand. We need a new name. We need a new face. We need a fresh start. I know not all of you are going to agree with this. I know some of you have ambitions. He looks over towards Jax that lie elsewhere. And I won't fault you for that. But this city is in trouble. If you've been around, you've felt it, you've seen it. You've seen that the neighborhoods are getting dangerous. You've seen that the streets are getting dangerous. Something is happening. And the cops, the government, they aren't doing anything about it. There are those that want to do something about it. Now, I'm not saying that we have to go play vigilante. I'm not saying we have to be putting our necks out, getting ourselves killed. But we shouldn't do nothing. And you were right about one thing, Jax. We need to start doing business again. And we do have some leads on business. And Jax kind of leans back, crossing his arms. Oh, really? And what leads to that? Agree to join us, and I'll tell you. Jax just kind of scoffs. Is it my turn yet? I want a club, Bruce says, that believes in loyalty, respect, and honor. Those of you that served, and he gestures to the tattoo of the Marine Corps on his arm, know what that is, and should represent that still. And I think some have lost sight of that. Some have forgotten what that means. But we can bring it back. Even Ryder, in his final days, started to lose sight of that, but he got it back. And the only way to honor him is for us to get it back also. That's what I want for us. Jax stands up. This is all well and good. Honor, respect, loyalty. Big talk. Where was the loyalty when they were letting strangers get Ryder killed? Where was the respect when they just left our doors wide open for anyone to waltz on in? When they were giving away our guns, our ammo, our resources? Where's the honor now when they won't even tell us what they're planning, even though we're all supposed to be brothers? You want my plan? I'll tell you my plan. For a long time, we've had to play second fiddle in this area. Second fiddle to a much bigger group. You all know who I'm talking about. We know who really runs this area. You want to make this area safe? You want to really look out for the community? Then you don't neglect what's really putting this area in danger. I think the other chapters have the right idea. So, you want to know what I've been up to? I've been talking to the cartel. And I think we can make an agreement. I think we can come to terms that can make this area safe. And in exchange, yeah, we do a little transport. But at least we know what's going on. At least we have eyes on Big Brother instead of hiding like cowards.
How does spreading drugs make the community safe? Not to mention, it would bring the feds down on your club.
When you know who's buying the drugs, when you're selling to the big purchasers, the rich and fancy all along the coast, instead of the poor street folk, the feds don't give a shit.
So you
Sure.
talk about Ryder, and you talk about what he wanted, and you talk about things going back to the way they are, but you throw that shit in the dirt and you piss all over it by saying we're gonna get involved in drugs. Got it. Check. Next.
Ryder's fucking dead.
But everything you said is now bullshit at the beginning because you were talking about how we should honor Ryder, but then you're shitting all over his memory.
Ryder brought the problems in the first place. He opened his doors to you. And Bruce has only carried on that torch. I want the Ryder that was, not the Ryder that became.
Lucas
Not the
will
Ryder
turn-
that got himself killed.
Lucas will look at Jester and then look back and say, yeah, just like you said, he's dead. So you're not getting that.
Then I guess I gotta become it.
Even the writer that was would never deal in drugs because they're a poison on any part of community, even if you sell them to rich people who will just exploit the poor.
Well, thankfully, I don't have to give a shit what you think about me. You don't even belong here. And as far as I recall, his blood's on your hands to begin with. Jester, go ahead and roll me a composure and resolve, please.
Five with a crit.
Okay. You feel the anger start to rise up, but you are able to quickly push it down. You've already dealt with that. You've already come to terms with that. Ryder chose his fate. He redeemed himself that night. It is not your fault. He told you himself it's what he wanted. So this is just talk.
No. I didn't cause Ryder's death. The monsters you plan to get in bed with caused Ryder's death. And I've been slowly paying them back. So while you've been getting into bed with them, I've been doing the fucking work.
Do the work. You could stack up the bodies of everyone else who follows you.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you'll be dead long before me. Or a slave.
We don't need a vote, Bruce. We've outgrown this place. Call it whatever the fuck you want. At that point, he pulls off his vest and throws it on the table. Several others in the room stand up, pulling off their vests and throwing them on the table. They all start to file out of the club. What was about 60 members comes down to about 30, as half the club files out, including Will, taking stock. You see Susan is still there. You see Ricky, of course, is still at his post by the door. You see that there are none of the officers left, except for Bruce. Bruce, oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna low-key look. Is Larry still here?
As you look behind the bar, Larry is still there. Bruce stands up, takes off his cut, and puts it on the pile with the others. I don't want anything to do with what they're going to do. Jester's right. They will get themselves killed because they're getting involved with a messy business. Too long have we stayed quiet about all of the injustice that's happening around us. Too long have we stayed quiet about what we know is going on in the shadows, what we've suspected is going on behind the scenes. Too long have we stayed quiet about what we're afraid of, about what keeps us up at night. I think it's time we fight back. I think it's time we take a stand. I think. He looks towards Lucas and Jester. I think it's time we howl. To that I say we start over as the Tampa Howlers. And I'm gonna need some new officers. And we're gonna need to rebuild. So with that, I'm gonna need a new vice president. Ricky looks over from the door. Boss, you know I'm too old for that shit. Pick the kid. Fair enough. Just showing respect. Lucas, you were the one who brought this to our attention. You were the one who came up with the idea. And if something were to happen to me, I think you're the one who could continue to lead this forward. I can't think of a better vice president than you.
Lucas will look kind of shocked for a second, look over at Jester, kind of waiting for a response from her.
Just nod. Was kind of your idea.
Turn back and look at Bruce. Then look kind of at the rest of the people that are there. She's right. Jester's right. They're going to end up under somebody else's boot. But that's not what we're going to do. It's like Bruce says, we're going to control our own destiny. And we're going to take care of the people around us. Because howlers don't kneel. We never will. So, yeah. I'll do it.
He also had a lot to say about strangers coming and going. So why don't we make them a little less strange? Because these so-called strangers have been more like family than those who used to call themselves family. Jester, I told you this in private, and I think it's time we talk about it publicly. You have been more family to this club than its actual family has been at times. So whether you like it or not, we're patching you in. So you're accepting our colors, but I also ask that you accept the role of secretary. because you have told me stories about this club that even I didn't know. And that's very, very unusual, since I know a lot about this club. But we're going to be telling a whole new story, and someone's going to have to keep track of it.
I can do that. Kind of my thing.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And the rest of you lot, you'll find your spots. But for now, let's get out there and howl. And as the club begins to celebrate their new name, their new role, and their fresh start, this is where we take a quick break and head to the second half of tonight's story. We'll be back in just a few minutes. See you shortly.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors: Chromatic Creations, Panshi Artista, Ember Fox Dice, Devlin the Bard, Champs Tramps, and Howlin' Hop Tea. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at coffee.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling.
Welcome back. In the first half, we saw Aspen vent her frustrations to Artie about the meeting with Edward Baitman before talking to Jace about his motivations in being in Tampa and how long he plans to stay with the Sept of the Evening Star. We then saw Lucas and Jester rebrand the biker club, but saw that half of that biker club was now breaking off to go work with the cartel. Could that mean trouble for the future of the Guru and the bikers? Quite possibly. Only time will, of course, tell. But now, in the second half, we find ourselves in a building that looks like it's undergoing construction. It's undergoing repurposing. It's being renovated. But at the moment, it seems to be abandoned, as it is late in the evening. But of course, there is Regina sitting outside in the parking lot of the otherwise abandoned building. Inside, we find Aspen and Jester, who have come to visit this particular property, although Jester has yet to find out why. Inside, there are several walls that look like they're in various states of deconstruction. Some of them have been sledgehammered through. Some of them are still standing, but look like they're meant to be brought down as they have X's spray painted over them. It looks like this is a project well on its way to being worked on, but still very much in process. You can see that there are countertops as if this was once a store. It's still very, very early in the deconstruction process. The scene is yours.
Aspen will have a six-pack kind of sitting over to one side on a half-broken counter, and also Chinese food, just to have some food there, because last time she had a similar conversation like this, she brought some beer and some food, and she's hoping that it goes better this time around.
Eyeing the food in the building. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this girls' night activity.
Well, we can't do spas and relaxation all the time. We gotta get into some of the things that are more you once in a while.
I suppose. I mean, All right, what is it?
And Aspen will go grab a beer and open it and hand it over to Jester. Take this first.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those. So, conversation with Baitman. He brought a proposal of giving us iron to take care of the plant problem.
How do you even know?
He's had run-ins with, well, I'm sure her and whatever else they have going on there. He's had run-ins with them, and apparently they're not easily controlled.
But okay. Just keep going.
And of course, we know that he was in those buildings, so there's got to be some sort of communication that was had. The caveat of everything is that he wanted to have a indefinite ceasefire, like Chicago.
You said no, right?
Yes. But I did agree to a ceasefire until we take care of the plant problem.
But we have the Hellhounds going to Michigan for iron. Why do we need to make a ceasefire with the person who was actively hurting our friends?
We have no idea how it's going to go in Michigan. I'm hoping that something comes of it, but if it doesn't, we need other options, and we're running out of options. And we need to make sure that these people are safe. People in Tampa, they didn't do anything, and this is a huge problem that we all need to make sure is gone.
So what does a ceasefire mean?
We don't take care of, or we don't deal with him and involve ourselves in his machinations. If there are others of them that come around and become a problem, he says, do what you will. But with him specifically, he won't mess with us if we don't mess with him. Or anyone that is not actively against us in that way.
So what does that mean exactly? Like, if I'm out patrolling for plant zombies, Let's just go with that. And I happen to come across a leech that's attacking a human. They're not attacking me. Do I have to give up my morals and not do anything for that?
What we need to do now is focus on the plant problem.
How do I know that he hasn't manipulated your mind in this? How can I know for sure this isn't some trick?
It's happened before. I didn't feel that then. But also, I don't know. I don't know if there's... I don't know if he's done anything. But I do know that I agreed to this ceasefire. And I continue to think good idea is a terrible word, but I think it's necessary right now.
I'm going to throw the bottle at the wall.
She'll look over at the wall and just hence and kind of gestures at the room.
Patience. Patience. This isn't forever, right? Just
Absol-
until...
Absolutely not. No, but Jester, I hate him. I hate him just as much as you do. I do. I hate him, and this is the last thing I want. This is the last thing I want. I don't want this. I don't want to have to give him what he wants. I don't want to have to potentially see him and not do anything about it. I don't... All I want is for him gone. Like, that is...
It must have been really hard for you being face to face with him.
He is going to be gone, and we'll make sure that happens.
It's fine. I'll
It's
behave.
not fine. It's not fine, Jester, and I know that.
I'll behave. We just need to really get this plate shit done then. Take care of it.
100%. We get our iron, we get it done, and we take everything we have and we throw it at him. Everything.
You know he's going to use this too. This time, this ceasefire, this delivery of iron. He's gonna set traps for us.
And he'll find a way to say that it wasn't him, and we'll have no way of maneuvering that. Whether he does it now or he'll save it for when the ceasefire is over. It's what he does. That's who he is.
I know. He's the epitome of all those billionaires and corporate CEOs pretending they don't get their hands dirty when they're the ones that actually came up with the plan in the first place.
He's everything awful. Everything awful. And he can't be around at all. And this place will never thrive with him here.
I can be patient.
I'm with you, though. We're gonna get to him, and we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it worth it.
Okay. We'll get him together.
Other thing I found out, because I did get some information before I completely lost it.
You lost it?
Yeah. I can't look him in the face, but the wolves are back. Like before.
Great. Spiffy, fucking wonderful. If there wasn't just, we didn't have enough in the city.
It's like you figure out one thing, you handle one problem or think you're handling one problem, and then another one pops up, and it's just over and over and over again. Then Aspen will go grab one of the sledgehammers and kind of drag it over to Jester, put it in between them.
I'm assuming his face is still attached to his body.
Yeah.
You did
Unfortunately.
Well, you did better than I would have. I probably would have tried to rip his face off.
I think if it wasn't for Lucas being there, I might have.
It's weird. Thank God for Lucas of all people.
Of all people, the one to keep his cool in that scenario.
I'll put my hand on top of Aspen's on the hammer. So, what now? Obviously, other than breaking shit, but overall, general, what now?
Well, we fix Jason. That's a thing we're going to be working on now after we talk to, I don't know, again, another problem. Talk to his fey possessor, and then fix him of his fey blood issue, and then possibly talk to other fey teenage boys, and then we take care of magical fey plants, and then we take care of, while doing that, take care of spooky corrupted werewolf worm boys, and then we take care of the blonde bimbo that is causing all of our issues, and then we kill the devil.
And anything that comes in between that. But yeah, okay. I'm down.
Like, again, with the,
Right.
you solve a problem, another problem comes. Oh, and I forgot about Sauron, so we got to take care of that too.
Yeah.
What is our life?
Being a Garu, fighting a losing war.
I would say I didn't sign up for this, but I don't think any of us signed up for it, so I guess we're just making the best of it.
Best of what we have.
Glad I have you, Jess.
I'm glad I have you. I'm glad we have the pack. I think that makes this the most bearable.
I think so. Even if they all like to work alone.
Maybe we should just bring the definition of pack at the next meeting and be like, this is what it means. It doesn't mean working alone.
I'll bring an encyclopedia. Yeah, they'll love that.
So as the two of you take out some much earned frustration using the sledgehammers to smash walls, break some of the old furniture, countertops, taking down the clearly designated walls instead of the support beams or anything that should remain standing in this particular facility. This is only going to soften the sting of this entire arrangement. It is never going to remove it entirely. But it'll buy you some time. But Jester brought up a very, very valid point. When faced with the reality of this arrangement, when faced with the potential suffering of an innocent person, what will you do? Will the tooth and claw win out, or will you walk away? We transition now to our next scene. Lucas, you've been on the hunt for any source of cold iron for several weeks now, really ever since you discovered that cold iron was the solution to the plant problem. Eliza knew of a flea market, a rather large flea market, just outside of Tampa. She thought this might be a good source to go look at. So you went one weekend with Eliza to go scout out this particular flea market. As you go to this location, you find several large steel structures that line this massive multi-acre property. This is a big flea market, and every weekend they seem to open it up for just big gatherings of people. A lot of local vendors come out, including antique shops, local artisans, food, everything you can imagine comes to this flea market. It is a big affair. In fact, they even host independent wrestling shows at this particular flea market. It's just a huge, huge affair. So as you arrive this particular weekend, you find parking in one of the open field lots, and the two of you approach one of the many entrances that lead into all of these large, enormous steel buildings that seem to be connected together. Now, the buildings themselves are no better than barns with large, steel doors that slide open, but they have installed air conditioner units inside to help keep out as much of the hot Florida sun and air from seeping its way in. But from some of the sweaty individuals you can see entering and exiting the building, it's only doing so much. So as you and Eliza, who is dressed in a nice breezy sundress and a light shawl, make your way towards the building, she looks to you and says, well, if we're going to find anything, this is going to be our best bet for now. Hopefully we'll get lucky.
Yeah, we'll see. He'll reach in his pocket and take out a pretty decently sized, rare earth magnet and hand it to her. Some of this shit's gonna be aluminum, titanium, probably really low grade stainless steel, but these will find the good stuff. So use this.
Well, I like to come to this particular market because there's a nice herb merchant here as well that I like to visit, in a nice new age shop that comes from time to time. So it's not a wasted trip entirely if we don't find anything.
Well, the first part of that sounds good. The second part, that's a you thing.
Don't look down on it too harshly. It has helped you in the past, Lucas. Believe it or not.
It's not that I'm looking down on it. It's just, it's not my thing. It's not my thing.
Well, there is also a garden shop, so I'll just make sure to drop you off there to look amongst your wares while I tend to my hippie ways.
Now you're speaking my language. Yeah.
You enter into one of the entryways, and you can see that there are merchants extending down one way and another, and there's intersections where it breaks off almost in an X pattern, heading off in various directions. So she almost on instinct starts leading the way, and there are stalls off against the walls, but also in the center there seem to be freestanding market stalls. And just as described, there are all kinds of artisans, from crochet to poster making to engraving, pretty much everything you can imagine. As you stop at a few stalls, go ahead and roll me a wits and investigation.
Three successes.
Yeah. With 3 successes, you do find yourself coming upon some so-called antique merchants, but what you're finding is, as described, a lot of nickel-plated or titanium, nothing really of a solid iron. Some stuff that looks like it would be what you're looking for, and it is, hammer crafted, but it is still fired. You try the magnets and it's not quite what you're looking for. Eliza, slipping her arm through yours as you lead her around, does seem to be paying particular attention, but as you see her blink her eyes, you can see that she's got a slightly hazy vision, as if she's looking a little further off into the middle distance, trying to glean beyond just what is visibly present to see something else as the two of you walk. You continue searching, and at a certain point, she stops and looks over in one particular direction and starts pulling on your arm as she starts walking that way.
Okay. I'll follow her lead.
Careful now. There is something rather unusual, something that you haven't encountered before, but something I and the rest of the pack dealt with once. Did we ever tell you about the furnace from the old can?
No, I don't think anybody's mentioned that one.
Well, there was a crematorium at the old can, and since it was a rather public place, it was where we would do most of our rites for our dead. Well, eventually a bane came to possess that particular furnace, and it wasn't until the new pack took up residence in the can that we were able to dispense with said bane. Well, I'm seeing something, an energy that's similar but not quite the same, coming from one of the stalls over here. Nothing to be alarmed with, but I'd like to get a closer look.
Okay. Yeah, you keep your eyes open and I'll be right here next to you.
As she pulls you along, she ends up dragging you over towards a stall that is actually a sword merchant. Like, they actually have like decorative blades meant for like display, and you can see that some of the blades that they have hanging up are in the style of like movie replica swords. So you'll see like a replica Sting or a replica of Excalibur, and behind the counter you see a rather burly man. He looks like he has kind of acne on his face, but also pockmarks. He looks like he probably has actually crafted these swords himself, basically from the burn marks you can see on his forearms and hands. He probably did actually do most of the metal work on these himself. Eliza moves up to the counter, but she seems to be staring beyond and over the shoulder of the man. And the shopkeeper steps up and says, "Can I help you?" And she doesn't address him at all.
I'll kind of look at Eliza for a minute and then look back at the guy. Is this all yours?
Oh, yes, I'm the proprietor of this particular establishment.
You made these?
Yes. Usually I'd work for the Renaissance Fair, but since the season's over...
Can I do like an assessment of his, like the quality of his work? I mean, obviously it looks fine, but like, are these well-made steel?
Yeah, give me let's do wits and craft. Why not, since you're kind of trying to examine it?
Use my blacksmith specialty?
You absolutely can use your blacksmith specialty.
Cool. Five successes.
As you're looking over the blades, you are actually surprised at how well crafted the blades are. The edges are pristine and fine. You can tell that there is some purposeful dulling on some of the blades so that they, especially any kind of replica swords, so that they aren't dangerous. But some of the swords that are behind the counter that aren't on active display near the front where they could be, reached by customers, they have almost a fine sheen to them to the point that they could be dangerously and wickedly sharp. One blade in particular seems to be a finely folded katana, which is on display behind the counter, and it looks like it is made in an almost traditional forging method from overseas.
Kind of look past him and eye that particular piece. Do you mind if I take a look at that one.
Certainly. That's actually my pride and joy. Turns and pulls the blade down and takes the sheath and sheaths the blade, but then turns it around and holds it out to you with both hands.
I'll take a look at, give it a good once over, crack it out of the sheath. Not all the way, but just look at it, thumb the edge.
As you pull out the blade, you can see that it has been folded over several times and finally hammered to the point that you can't see any crease work from the hammer strikes along the blade. Running your thumb over it, even gently, you get a small slice on your thumb that just gets a little bit of welling of blood. Just a small little bit. Not enough to actually actively start bleeding, but just enough to cause a little thin red line of blood.
If you don't mind me asking, where did you pick this up? Where did you learn this?
Many masters over many years. I guess you could call it a passion. Traveled far and abroad with the fair and spent some time in Europe, even in Asia.
Huh. I am starting a dabble in this too, so I can tell this is some exceptional quality, especially this piece. This is obviously, like you said, your pride and joy.
Thank you. That's a fine compliment. Looking over towards Eliza, you can actually see her kind of raising a hand up and almost flicking at the air ever so slightly. The shopkeeper kind of furrows his brow a little bit and looks over towards her. She all right?
Yeah, she didn't take her medicine this morning, so she's harmless. It's fine. She's okay.
Understood. Of course.
Yeah.
Just be careful with around the blades there, miss.
She's tougher than she looks. She's good. Just letting her. Anyway. Okay. Wow. Do you have cards?
Oh, yes. He goes over to another edge of the counter and pulls out a business card and passes it to you.
I'll take it and look at it.
It says Alex O'Hare, blacksmith.
Simple to the point. All right. Well, I mean, I could. Geez, this stuff is ridiculous. I'm kind of impressed. I don't run into a lot of this often. Maybe I should go to more Ren fairs. That's something I never thought I would say.
Well, you're not gonna find most fine work there. I usually just bring out the replicas for that business, but it pays the bills.
Does it pay good?
Well, this kind of weaponry doesn't really go for much anymore, and it's especially a lot harder to get by these days. People prefer guns, it seems now, but it gets by. It's a living.
No, that's fair. Guns are loud. Guns are prone to failure, so
I consider this an art form,
yeah.
especially if you know what you're doing.
Very, well, you do. So obviously, this is something that is definitely art.
Well, even in the using of it. I mean, the creation, of course, it's an art piece, but there's an art to how you handle such a weapon.
I've, once again, yes, dabbled in that too. So, I'll glance over at Eliza and see how she's doing.
She's stopped flicking at the air at this point, and she's kind of blinked a couple of times and now looked over towards you and has picked up on the conversation. Sorry about that. Are you finding what you're looking for, Lucas?
Well, I mean, I found something I didn't know I was looking for. So, I mean, that's a win.
Oh, wonderful. Sir, could you show us that knife back there? Turns and nods and reaches behind the counter and grabs a small dagger that seems to be on display in one of the lower one of the lower hooks on this cage backdrop. He picks it up. It doesn't look particularly fancy. There's no filigree or special handle. In fact, it's just got a wooden handle with a small iron cross guard and pommel. And the blade actually doesn't look overly sharp. In fact, it looks dinged. And the blade itself looks like it has ripples in it. As he passes it over, he says, "This is one of my earlier pieces, but sure, have a look." And as she takes it in her hands, she turns it over a few times and then raises it up and kind of looks at it a little closer. Then she turns towards you. "The magnet, Lucas."
Oh, yeah. And he'll take the magnet out of his pocket and hold it up to it.
Almost immediately, the magnet just sticks to it.
Let it sit there for a second and pry it off, and then I'll look back towards the guy. Where do you get your raw materials at?
Oh, this was one of my earlier works. Like I said, I did this over in Europe when I was first training and learning. They said if you're gonna learn, you should start at the very beginning. So they taught me with a old brick of iron, and they wanted to take me through traditional methods. So fired, they had a mold, had to press it out and really hammer it into shape. As you can see, it wasn't exactly fine work, but I'm proud of it nonetheless.
I mean, it's still an exceptionally nice piece. Okay. Interesting. Look at Eliza. Is that one got your attention?
Yes, I think that would work quite nicely. How much, sir? Well, normally I'd say it's not for sale, but I've been fine enough folks, and I don't get, interested parties by my stall very often unless they want to ask me which house I belong to, Stark or Lannister. So, I'll tell you what, I'll part with it for $500. Eliza contemplates for a moment. "You got yourself a deal." She reaches into her shoulder bag and pulls out a little pouch and pulls out a small roll of bills and starts thumbing through it, and then passes the bills over. He writes out a handwritten receipt. "It's all yours. Just be careful with it now," he says to Eliza specifically, very pointedly.
I'll kind of give him a wink and a nod. Oh, can I take a picture real quick of some? Okay, I'll take out my phone and take a picture of his sting, and I'll text that picture to Jester and say, "I found your man's a birthday present."
Well, you have a very, very lovely shop, sir. Thank you. Thank you for entreating us. You're welcome. Come give me a call or send me an email if you have any of the pieces you might be interested in. I don't know much about websites, but I do have an email address, and if you have a piece you're interested in, I custom make work too.
Well, I'll absolutely, you'll be hearing from me. I might pick your brain and send you some examples of stuff I'm doing and see what you have to say if you don't mind.
Oh, of course. They said when they were training me, pass it on. So I intend to do so.
Before we walk away, I'm gonna use sense the true form real
Okay.
quick. Just a quick smell.
Go ahead and roll it.
4 successes, and that's a 1 willpower to use it.
As you take a big whiff of the man, you don't pick up any scent that you've smelled before. There's a distinct human smell. But then there's something else. It's human, but it's almost clean. Like clean laundry. Like it's very, very fresh. Like clean linens, almost.
I'll shake his hand, and I'll follow Eliza as we continue on.
She pulls you off a bit of the distance and then moves towards the food court and takes you off to one side near a table. He's got something following him. It's not possessing him. It's not tormenting him, but it's close, and it's almost like it's trying to find a way in, but it can't. As far as I can tell, it's not from here. It's from elsewhere. Far, far elsewhere. It's fire-based. It's almost like not quite a bane, but a fire spirit of some kind. Very mysterious and wild.
He smells clean, like too clean. I mean, not like in a, I don't know, like not like in a suspicious way, just unblemished. And even for a human, that's weird these days.
Would you say pure?
That's a good word for it. Like I say, like clean, but not like suspicious. That's a good word for it.
She kind of leans back at the table. I think every now and then there are interesting individuals that walk amongst us that are greater than, but let's just say divinely inspired. This one may not know it, but I believe they are divinely graced.
Those some big words, Eliza. That's intense.
Goes the opposite way, too. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Have you heard the term seraphim before?
No, that one doesn't ring a bell.
Have you heard the term Nephilim before?
No.
We have a lot of learning to do, but that's far too great a conversation to have at a what I guess is plastic table. It's very sticky too. She kind of picks up her arms off the table.
Yeah, it is.
We
Okay. What's one more weird thing out there? Sure.
This one isn't bad, but isn't necessarily one we want to encounter too often. It's not necessarily harmful, but it's not our best friend, especially if it comes to understand its purpose.
Well, I just can't take you anywhere, can I?
Maybe it's better that you do.
Yeah, you probably.
At least you know what you're talking to.
That's true. Yeah, 'cause I'd smell all kinds of shit. I'd have no idea what it is. Fine.
It's only a guess, but based off of what I heard you talking about and what I was seeing, it's very unusual, but not problematic. This isn't something that's going to cause us issues. This is just a curiosity. This place has always drawn weird and unusual things. There's something to be said for the convergence of energies that pass through this region that draw the strange and unusual here.
Well, I mean, aren't we all strange and unusual? So, makes sense to me.
Well, let us move on and keep our search going, but that was quite a find we have here.
Yeah, you have to tell me at some point what's going on with that thing.
Oh,
Probably,
it's
like you
just
said.
a traditional piece. It's made in the old way, so it is pure cold iron.
Oh, good. All right. It's a win.
In the way that it was crafted, I recognized it almost instantly.
Okay, good. The katana had me absolutely blindsided. That thing was intense. You guys got some skill.
He should, if he is what he seems to be. With that, she stands up from the table and loops her arm through yours, and the two of you continue on through the market, doing your shopping. You pick up a few more pieces that are going to need further investigation at home. The magnet was attracted to them, but they'll have to be broken down and probably actually tested to determine how much of an impurity they have in them to see if they'll work. But you pick up a pitcher that seems to be an antique, possibly iron pitcher, as well as some pieces of silverware that seem to be made of an old metal. But again, it's not exactly as pure as this dagger seems to be. So it's going to be up in the air, and it's still not nearly enough to do the job that you need it to do. But it was a worthwhile trip. You did stop at the gardening shop and were able to pick up some interesting seeds. Nothing unusual. Everything you could identify and could source and would be very nice for the garden. As well as some, construction supplies, tools, good things to take back to the cairn. With that, we move on to our final scene of the evening. Jace. Find yourself picked up by Charles, driving in his luxury sedan out on patrol one evening after being advised that you should work alone with Charles. You decide to take them up on this offer and go out on patrol one evening. Charles sits behind the driver's seat, behind the wheel, gently driving the car through the city streets of Tampa. Everything has been quiet for the most part this evening. As he drives, the radio is not playing, which makes the silence all the more uncomfortable. Only the sounds of the city and the pavement beneath the wheels being the soundtrack as the two of you move along on patrol.
Do you hate music?
Can be a distraction.
I knew you were gonna say that. Okay.
You have to keep your senses alert when you're on patrol.
You have other senses going on though, man. And sometimes people focus better with music.
Are you one of those people, Jason?
It depends on the music.
What music helps you focus best?
Honestly, I kind of like the blues. Like the old blues. My old bar, what a lot of the patrons like to listen to, so I grew accustomed to it. Used to be a really big, believe it or not, really into rap. But wasn't a great look for me up there. So I had to kind of fall into my niche a little bit more.
That's the Rat's Nest, correct?
Yeah.
Was Bonars Are Us taken?
Yeah, Canada already had it, so we're close enough. Fuck you, man. All right.
You see a small smirk at the corner of his lips. I wanted to talk to you about the staff, actually. I'm glad that it's been providing some relief for you. I can't imagine what the infection has been like, being cut off from the spirits and your gifts. As a theurge, that must be frustrating.
Like losing part of yourself, but it's there, you just can't get to it.
If I couldn't change, if I couldn't protect, I would be lost. That being said, you understand why I was concerned.
I understand the liabilities that come along with it, and your job is to keep everyone safe. So no, I totally get it.
I hope it's just an abundance of caution for no reason.
I do too.
These refugees, do you really believe that they are trustworthy?
They haven't given me a reason not to believe them. The things alone that they've shown me and that I've been able to understand what we're fighting against more because of their insight on it. Do they have an alternative means? Do they have a hidden agenda? Probably. But right now our goals are aligned. So I trust them as of right now, but what Eliza said makes sense. Get ones who can help you defeat your enemy if it's theirs as well. I get it. But I think they're truly in need of help, and they're in a spot right now where they have nowhere really else to turn. And they're you said you couldn't imagine going through not being able to change. Think of someone taking you and ripping you apart, and you have no say in what's going on, and then putting you into something for their own gains. That's what's happening to them.
As you lay out your example, Charles kind of takes a deep breath, and you see his shoulders tense. And as he lets out the breath, he says, "Believe it or not, I can identify with that more than you know."
The fear that they had, or that they were experiencing, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. No one should be having to go through that. And I'm sorry that you had to experience something similar.
Made me capable and able to do what I can do. But
Is this that weird childhood thing where you were shooting guns really young?
something like
Dude.
that. Well, that brings up a valid point. I was taught never to give them the opportunity to give me a reason to distrust them.
Leave the world in a really empty place, though.
Yes, that is what I'm learning more and more the longer I spend time here.
I'm glad that you're understanding that the things of the old ways need to change. Now, there are some aspects of the litany that I totally agree with. But you and I understand that the old nation. Shit's got to change.
It was a different time when the nation formed, when the rules were written. They could never have predicted just how complicated everything would become. It is impossible to judge the Guru of this time by the rules of a completely bygone era. That being said, we need also not be so flippant and undisciplined either. It's very easy to dismiss and say or give credence to our enemies because we have to believe that everything is excusable, that everyone makes mistakes. At a certain point, you can't allow it to make another mistake. Some mistakes have to be the last one. Some errors can't be corrected. Some things can't be forgiven.
I agree. There needs to be a scale to it. The mistakes are how we learn, but I do agree. Depending on the severity of that mistake, especially if they put others in danger.
Yes.
And that's why I get what you said when we had the meeting.
Either way, I'm not going to let some fey god dictate the rules. Although it's probably best you are staying with Aspen and Arthur, because I would be interested to see how I would go one-on-one with a fey god.
You just love a good competition, huh?
You'd be surprised how boring combat gets eventually.
It's always interesting when I'm there, mostly because I'm scared. And I'm not wanting to be there, so I can't imagine it being boring.
Stay close to me and you won't have to be scared.
Oh, absolutely. If anything happens tonight, I'm hiding behind you until you tell me to do something otherwise.
Good. Have you been practicing with your gun?
Not really. only place I could really do that is with you. And I feel like Aspen wouldn't be a huge fan of me trying to, quick draw in the living room.
Well, then it's a good thing we're going where we're going. Field practice is the best practice.
Field? Like an empty field with like pop cans and stuff?
Something like that. As he drives, you see, looking outside, that the buildings are becoming more and more sparse as you are getting further and further away from downtown. Eventually, you see that all that is around you is farmland and fields stretching out. And you see that he pulls into a driveway that's heading towards a farmhouse off in the distance. He parks the car at the end of the driveway and climbs out of the car. He looks to you and says, as I said, stay close to me.
I'll be right on your hip. Oh, get out of the car.
As you get out of the car, you find yourself out in a grassy field. He starts walking further into the field. And as he does so, he pulls a canister off his belt and he sparks the canister, and a greenish smoke starts pouring out of the canister. He then reaches into his pocket and cracks a handful of glow sticks and shakes them, getting them all to start glowing. He then gets to a certain point in the field, looks around, and then starts stomping his foot on the ground several times. And as he stomps, you can actually feel the ground beneath you shaking with his stomps, as if he's thunderously pounding on the earth and the ground beneath you. And then you hear the ground start to shake. He looks to you. Is your gun ready?
Shit. I'm gonna pull it out and stumble and try and find the safety on it and try and make the slide. Yeah.
He, in a twirling motion, tosses the glow sticks in a circle around him. So glow sticks kind of make a circle all around you, dropping into the grasses all around, almost making a glowing circle spread out around you. Out in the field beyond the circle, from the ground itself, humanoid figures start to grow out of the ground, one after another, just sprouting up from the ground. Literally like plants themselves growing out of the ground. They look like people, but with these strange bulbous growths coming off of their bodies. Some of them are like lurching off to the side. Some of them have like almost like an entirely second head, except it looks to be almost this tumorous, mushroomy growth off the side of their head. Another has what looks to be like a third arm coming out of their chest. Charles reaches into his hip holster, pulling out his shotgun and aiming off into the field. Go for the head, but keep shooting as the body gets closer. He then
Adjust the staff a little bit.
cocks the shotgun and begins firing. Go ahead and roll me either resolve and firearms or a dexterity and firearms?
Do a resolve in firearms. 3.
Okay. So as you aim, you fire at one of the silhouettes that is kind of lurching towards the glowing circle on the outside, and you can see it kind of break open off of its chest, and it buckles backwards and drops to the ground. But then it starts to slowly pull itself back up again, and you can see a large chunk is missing off of its torso, but it wasn't a direct headshot, so it is kind of lurching back up to its feet and starting to clamber back into the circle. Behind you, you hear an explosive boom from the shotgun from behind, and you see a big burst of light as an explosive dragon's breath round hits one of the mushroom people on the other side of the circle, engulfing them in flame and starting to make a squealing, hissing sound from the other side of the circle.
I hit mine too. I'm gonna try shooting again.
Good, keep firing.
Can I burn a will?
Yeah.
Two
successes, okay. Again, a strafing shot hits it. It doesn't go down this time. It just seems to slow it a little bit as it keeps lurching forward. You hear another kind of reload and fire as another explosive blast hits another one of these lurching figures, almost causing it to shatter into multiple flaming hunks that just go scattering all over the field, dropping to the ground in burning little bits all around. As you take stock of your surroundings, it looks like there are about 6 more of these creatures entering into the glowing circle.
If I go into Glabro now, I'm gonna take a dice penalty from that to shoot.
Correct.
Also, right?
Yep.
Okay. But because it would be a physical action, if I did Dex, I'd get a bonus.
You would
correct?
get a bonus, yeah. It would just negate the bonus this turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. As they're starting to get closer, get a little more frightened, and then go into Glabro.
Okay. So as you make the shift, growing in size, the gun almost seems smaller in your massive hand. But you take it and, not even looking, kind of swing your arm out and fire, not worrying to focus on aim, pulling the trigger and firing.
Another 2.
Again, the bullet strafes. Now, this same creature that you've been firing on has slowed down quite significantly, as many chunks of it have been kind of blasted off. It's not able to make much more movement towards you. It is just kind of slowly inching now rather than stalking as the other ones are moving closer. At this point, Charles has sheathed the shotgun back at his side, and you can hear the sound of tearing flesh as claws extend out of his fingernails on both hands, and he starts moving out from behind your back towards some of the hulking figures.
I'm gonna stay on his back. He told me to stay close, so walking backwards behind him in Glabro. Just walking behind him.
Okay, go ahead and take another shot.
3.
Okay. As you fire one more time at that one that's on the ground, you see it finally burst and kind of explode in a yellowy splatter that kind of hits the ground all of around it and starts to sizzle and hiss on the ground. Charles moves up towards one of the creatures, raking its claws, stabbing into the creature and pulling it close. He then reaches down towards his belt, grabbing a canister, pulling the pin and shoving the canister into the hole that he seems to have carved out of its chest, and just shoves the canister in. A white hot flare almost starts to burn from the inside of the creature, just starting to blast and fire from inside, burning the creature from the inside out, giving the same kind of hissing, squealing sensation as it just burns and burns and burns and smokes from all around the inside.
So I got my one. Is there any more in front of me, or do I need to like move?
There are 2 more coming in from the sides that you can pick off.
Leave the one to the right and go to the left and shoot at that one.
Okay.
Ooh. Can I burn a will?
Yeah.
Zero.
Okay. Trying to turn and fire at the one off to the side, you end up pulling the trigger a little too soon, sending the bullet firing off to the left of the creature, off into the field. Charles, you hear kind of a husky chuckle from behind you, and he says, "Premature."
Gonna elbow him a little bit and fire again.
Go ahead and roll again.
Focus. Two.
Okay, this time it does strike the creature, sending it backstepping a little bit. This point, you hear 2 kind of hissing canisters as he sparks off 2 flares, knocking them both against his legs and then holding them against the sides of one of the creatures, just letting them fire off and burn into the side of the creature, pushing it down to the ground.
That one's a bit sadistic, and he'll fire again. One.
Okay, this one nicks it, but doesn't slow it at all. It is still lumbering towards you. Go ahead and roll me a dexterity and athletics as this creature gets close and it kind of hucks out a glob of something that comes hurling towards you.
4.
As you duck out of the way, this massive kind of gelatinous glob hits the ground. And as it hits the ground, you can see that it almost has these tendrils that are like flailing and reaching out, kind of trying to grasp out at something, like trying to reach out towards you almost, but they're finding ground instead.
Charles, burn that one, and the one that shot the glob, gonna try and shoot it again.
Charles wheels around and then just holds the flare to the glob as it burns and squeals.
3.
Okay. This one hits dead center of the chest, sending it dropping backwards. Charles shouts over to you, run up to it, point blank range to the head.
I'm gonna get close.
You can do
But
it.
you
I'm on your 6.
Okay. Gonna check everything, make sure one's still left. Run up to it, put the gun right up to its head.
Okay.
Squeeze the trigger.
As you get up close, you can see that this particular creature person looks like half of a humanoid face, missing the bottom jaw, with just a tongue kind of hanging out of the bottom, and the other half of the face is just a growth that seems to be like one large bulbous growth off the side. No eye on that side of the face. It looks like they are a mixture of plant and person, primarily plant at this point, and that you can see from the opening that was their mouth, there's almost like their throat has been widened to allow whatever that projectile was to come shooting out. You can also see that their stomach is almost large. It's large and bulbous to house whatever it is that they shot out at you.
gonna look it over, look at that one humanoid side, and then back to the disgusting plant. Look away for a moment, just squeeze the trigger, let it off.
Okay, you got a 2 dice bonus from the point blank range.
Four.
Okay, with that many successes, you were able to pull the trigger and you can just see it splatter outwards in a yellow splash. Charles, as promised, is on your 6 immediately. He uses his claws to kind of rake open the belly, pulling out another canister and shoving it inside of the hole he rakes open in the belly before pressing it closed. And you can see the belly start to glow as the flare kind of goes off inside of the belly to the point that it starts to heat up, and he lets it go and it just burns before bursting. At this point, the field is silent. Surveilling the scene, you can see some burning, glowing piles from around. It's quiet. It's still. Charles looks to you. Good work.
Still the gun's shaking, but remembering the training, he goes and puts the safety on. Tries to put it back. Field work's very different.
Get used to it. If we're going to eventually go to Piney Point, this will be nothing compared to that.
Do you get used to the smell? That burning plant and flesh is gross.
Oh, certainly not. It is toxic and disgusting, but at least you won't throw up.
Yeah, just get used to it, an acquired smell.
Roll me a wits and awareness.
Going back down to Hamid.
Yeah.
5.
As you start to shrink, going back down to your normal Hamid form, your ears prick up ever so slightly. As off in the distance, you hear a warbling howl.
Charles, point in the direction. Did you hear that?
He turns his head in the direction of your pointing and focuses his eyes. Get back to the car.
Are we done? That's one more thing, right?
Get back to the car. And he starts
all right.
turning and walking and picks up to a brisk jog as he starts moving towards the car.
Try and keep up.
As he hops into the car, he turns on the engine and immediately slams his foot to the pedal, steering the car almost in a U-turn on the driveway and gunning it down the driveway. As the car turns out onto the road, a large, massive, almost 15-foot creature comes barreling out of the field onto the road as something that looks like a wolf but couldn't possibly be comes barreling out onto the road behind the car, giving chase. It is massive, wide, large, probably the size of a truck. Charles starts tearing off down the road in the car, again, pedal to the metal, but this massive wolf seems to be gaining on the car. What do you do?
Let me drive. Let me drive.
Charles nods his head and kind of gives you the wheel, keeping his foot to the pedal. He turns down or lowers the window and pulls the shotgun from his holster, leaning out the window. He tries to kind of give aim as you're holding the wheel as steady as you can. Give me a dexterity and drive. However, I'm going to give you a -1 because you are trying to drive without being in the driver's seat.
2.
Okay, so you're keeping the car somewhat steady, but you are on a country road, so you are kind of hitting potholes, causing the car to jostle. Charles fires off a round that goes wide of the massive creature that is gaining. As it gets close, you feel the car shake and jostle as it gets knocked to the side as the massive wolf creature bashes against the opposite side of the car, sending it kind of almost careening to the other side of the road. With your 2 successes, though, you are able to keep the wheel steady enough to stay on the road and keep it moving forward. Give me another dex and drive. Again, still -1.
Another 2.
Okay, still keeping it steady enough. Charles sends off another shot. This one strikes into the creature and burns, but the fire goes out almost immediately as it hits.
Charles, what's the plan? What do you need me to do?
Get to the highway.
Okay. I'm gonna try and beeline to the highway. Even if I gotta cut through open fields at this point, driving through it to get to the highway.
Give me a wits and awareness to see if you can kind of parcel out the best route. Or actually, give me a wits and streetwise.
Rage gone up at all from this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll say you're at a rage 3 at this point.
All right, that makes sense. Wits and streetwise, right?
Yeah.
Any penalties from driving?
No, I will say not at this point because you're kind of looking for signs. You're keeping your eye on the road, like you're very aware of your surroundings at the very least.
5.
Okay, so you know the best path from here to get to the highway. As you are driving, Charles is still firing off shots. You can feel the car shaking as it gets hit again. You're pretty sure the back end of the car has been dented in, and you hear the bumper scraping against the ground as if it's about to come ripping off the back of the car. Another boom of the shotgun sends the creature buckling back, giving you a little bit of time where it's not right up on the vehicle. Give me one more dexterity and drive check.
I'm gonna burn another will.
Okay.
Okay. Another 2.
Okay, with the 2 more successes, you are able again to keep the car steady enough to stay on the road to the point that you get to the highway entrance. Turning the wheel hard to pull onto the highway, the bumper just goes flinging off the end of the car, just tearing off the back of the vehicle. As you pull onto the highway, the creature veers off, not following you onto the highway, and instead falling back, dropping behind, returning to the fields behind you. As Charles sees that the vehicle or that the creature is not giving chase, he drops back into the driver's seat, grabbing the wheel.
The hell was that?
I don't know. Wasn't reacting to the fire the way the others were.
It turned away as soon as we got to the highway.
Didn't want to be seen. not by anything else.
So it's smart.
Yes.
You think it was testing us? It was out there the whole time, seeing what we could do?
Possibly. Or it just arrived as we were finishing up.
Is how all of your field tests go?
No.
Okay. A one-off, right? Like, won't happen again?
Hopefully not.
I'm gonna need a guarantee, man.
No, it won't happen again.
Perfect. All right, we can keep doing this then, because I don't know who your detailer is, but I might have peed a little bit in your seat.
You and me both.
Then that stays between us. We fought that thing and we weren't scared at all.
Of course.
Yeah. Big scary. Well, you big scary. I'm smaller scary.
Well, you witnessed a first for me as well. I've never fought anything like that.
So fire takes care of the little ones, but not the big one.
No. That didn't seem to be composed of any kind of flesh. It was pure plant matter. As far as I could tell, I didn't get a very good look at it as the tail lights were broken fairly quickly.
Yeah, let the pack know.
We do. We should get back to the cairn as quickly as possible.
Yeah. You drive. I'm gonna compose myself.
Agreed. As the two of you drive as quickly as possible back to the cairn in the very, very damaged luxury sedan, this is where our story comes to a close this evening, but not without one last scene. We find ourselves in the caves of Kentucky, far, far, far to the north of Florida. A very, very unusual location for this scene to take place. Unusual if you haven't been paying attention. Because a very, very unique cairn woke up. A unique cairn that has been calling out to very unique creatures. And in this particular instance, in this cave in Kentucky, hanging upside down from the ceiling, a bat the size of a man opens its eyes. Its long, jagged teeth dripping, its wings unfurling. It's called, and it's prepared to answer. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everyone watching at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see down below and in the description. And if you like what you see here, come join our community by following that Discord link in the description. We have activities happening all month long, and we have some new tables starting soon, so you could find yourself at a seat at one of those tables. So get in our community and get in one of those tables ASAP. We'd love to have you. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. We've got Hellhounds this Friday over on YouTube, so go check that out, and we'll be back with another episode of Rage Across Tampa next week on Tuesday. Have a lovely evening, everyone.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Reach Across Tampa is produced in agreement with World of Darkness and Dark Pact. The storyteller for Rage Across Tampa is Kent. Tonight's characters were voiced by Preston, Champ, Noree, and Walks. Visit our website at stpbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, Fang, Stakes, and Claws out.